So I just saw the new Coen brothers film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and it was pretty great. It was quite the experience to watch a Coen brothers film premiere on Netflix of all places. But I guess that's kind of the direction that things are heading, and I do actually really like having that option. Anyway, this movie was very entertaining, very bizarre, very well shot, and very well written. The way that the Coen brothers write their dialogue is just insane, honestly. They're such perfectionists when it comes to the vocabulary being used in certain time periods, and it really gives the actors a lot to work with. Tim Blake Nelson's character and accent in this film is just so much fun to watch. Now, this is a movie that tells 6 separate stories all revolving around different characters, and each of those stories is transitioned by showing a book that an unknown character is reading, and even the few pages we see of that book are just so well written. I'll definitely be pausing the film on my second watch to read all of it. I really love just how much detail and thought goes into their films, and I love how they're always willing to try new things. One complaint that I've heard from people is that these stories aren't all tonally consistent, and I certainly don't have an issue with the changing tones, but I do wish that they were a little more similarly paced. The only point where I really started to feel the length of a segment was in segment number 5. Everything was really fast-paced before that point, and it was kind of jarring for things to slow down so much. That being said, none of the stories were bad, but I do kind of wish that the final segment was explored a bit more, especially considering how much time was spent on the 5th one. The first segment is probably my favorite, and it makes a lot of sense to include that one at the beginning of the film, because right away it makes it very clear that this movie is aiming to be a little tongue-in-cheek. In many ways, this movie is kind of a joke, but not in a way where it degrades its quality. It's obviously all very self-aware with its humor, and I had an absolute blast watching it. The whole film looks great, and it's all very well shot. The props, the costumes, the sets, the locations. When it comes to period pieces, these guys definitely know what they're doing. It was kind of interesting timing to have this come out while Red Dead 2 is so popular as well. It's pretty difficult not to make those comparisons as someone who's been playing the game, and I really love Red Dead Redemption, but going back to it made me appreciate the Coen brothers' dialogue even more. Now, even though I enjoyed watching this on Netflix, this is the kind of movie that I could see working really well in a crowd. So if you can catch this in theaters, then great. Otherwise, invite some friends over, because this movie is quite the hilarious and entertaining ride. If I were to rank all of the segments in the film, it would go 1, 4, 2, 3, and then 5 and 6 would be tied, I think. Although they are not all tonally consistent, they all have plenty to appreciate about them. So check this one out whenever you can, and I'll be seeing this one for a second time at some point. And I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10.